things I wish I knew before I played cello. I think sometimes we look forward to all the advanced kinds of things that we can do with the instrument, but these are just some tips and tricks that I had picked up that I wish I had known a little bit sooner. One of the first things actually is rosin. I happen to live in the mountains. Our humidity here is maybe 30, 40%. It's winter, well, springtime right now. So one of the issues that I had was the rosin. So you can see here, I've got some hinder sign. It tells me it is the perfect cello rosin, made in England. Um, I just had trouble getting it to stick. Didn't really matter how I put the rosin on. Um, it just kind of turned into powder and ended up all over the instrument. So I tried, well, we can just go to another one here. This one's all weather. Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. Let's give that one a try. Didn't have much luck with this one either. Um, I'm not beating up on this rosin. I don't think it's the right rosin for my area. I think the humidity was much higher, say, where this is made in England, 60, 80%, that rosin would be sticking very well to this bow. So this wasn't working for me. Might work okay for you. Uh, so for those of us that live in mountainous, dry climates, like I do here in British Columbia, I had a friend of mine, he plays bass, and he gave me one of these. Now this is a bass rosin. Um, is there a big difference between bass rosin and a cello rosin? Um, I find this is stickier, and so if you're having troubles like I had, having a bass rosin, perfectly fine. It also comes in numbers, so this is number 4. So not only is this a bass rosin, but it is probably the stickiest rosin that I have actually found. Made in Vienna, so also a mountainous area like I have here. So I found, this stuff here is for my bow and my instrument the best choice. Now, when it comes to color, there's a lot of debate. This one here is an amber color. The all-weather that I have is more of a dark color. Um, I don't really find the color really matters so much. Just read the labels, whether it be a sticky style rosin versus something that'll be a little more powdery. As I say, like the lighter rosin, that isn't as sticky, tends to be a good choice if you got temperature issues. Now, when rosining the bow, I find, now this is where the biggest difference comes in, is making sure you get lots of rosin on this bow. So basically, make sure you rosin pretty much every time you start playing. I'm sorry for those of you that can't stand the sound of fingers on the chalkboard, but what I find is that's my indication I've got enough rosin on there. That's going to resonate really nicely on the strings. I tend to move it back and forth quite quickly. I want to get this to heat up and to really get it to stick on there. If I didn't have troubles with it sticking, then I probably could get nice full bow lengths how you're trained. And your teacher will always say, when you're rosining your bow, pretend that you're actually playing the instrument, and you're moving that bow up and down, just like so. So anyway, that's my quick little talk on rosins. Second topic is protecting your instrument. One of the things you see is I've got my cello sitting beside me on the chair, but what might be difficult for you to see is the bridge. I make sure that bridge is right up against my chair. If I'm storing it, you can see that I have the instrument up on its side. The reason I do this is to make sure that if somebody walking by doesn't kick it and break it. Please do not put this instrument up onto the chair. I've seen them, take a dive off of the top, and anyway, these very breakable instruments. The other one too is your end pin. This is quite weak if somebody happens to hit the end. So if you are storing it quickly, make sure that end pin is in and it's just sitting here on the floor. The other one, I know this is stupid simple, but just give me a second. is when you're putting your cello away, make sure that your instrument goes, I've just got the bag, but if you have a bag style case, try not to make a mess of this. Anyway, if you have a bag style case, make sure you get everything into the case first and then put your bow into the case. A friend of mine actually snapped his bow in half going the other direction. He put the bow in, and then as he was fooling around with the case, as you saw, sometimes it's a little difficult to get this on the right proper way. He ended up breaking the bow. So at least this way, put the cello in the case first and then slide the bow in. Simple little things, but trust me, they will save you in the end. Also, speaking of the bridge, it's one of those things that you kind of want to protect that bridge as much as possible. And so one of the other things that I do from time to time, I want to check that bridge. As you can see, it's got a little bit of a lean, but I want to make sure that that bridge is straight up and down. If this thing starts to tilt, sometimes this thing will snap and fall over. Are you going to get hurt? I haven't, but it definitely scares the crap out of you. You get this big bang and all, basically everything just falls. I highly recommend is exercising these pegs. If you do have the fine tuners, these are great, right? You want to be able to move these tuners up and down to tune the instrument. But one of the things that you may find is you can hear it sticks. And so it's being able to exercise that peg up and down and make sure that it's moving quite loosely. You can actually go to the store and buy what are called peg drops. And what that is just a lubricant that helps these things. So if it's really stuck on there, just you put a drop of that in there and it helps you. But when you are tuning, make sure you push that peg in. Otherwise, all that hard work will go to waste, and just you can hear it just zip away. Anyway, so that's kind of your care and maintenance of the pegs. As for the rest of the instrument, when you're packing up, I just carry one of these. This is just a cotton cloth. Just make sure you wipe off all the rosin on the fingerboard, especially. You don't really want to, have any rosin up here for sure. So it gives you a chance to kind of wipe the rosin, especially off your left hand when